Hello, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the third Investors Dialogue on Energy Plenary Meeting. My name is Daniela Sedola, partner at PwC, the implementing team of this initiative on behalf of the European Commission, DG Energy. And it's our pleasure to have you here this morning to discuss many news, many things happening in the energy sector in Europe. I'm going to give a quick briefing of the day, what we're going to be doing, and then we're going to start in earnest with our discussions. First thing, just to remind you, for those that still joining us for the first time, what is the Investors Dialogue on Energy? So this is a multi-structure stakeholder forum where we discuss any topics related to investment in energy. So the role of the different financing policies, the finance instruments that can support energy investments in Europe. We cover 5 segments of the energy value chain, and we split them in working groups that are composed by members of the private sector and the public sector as well, including also NGOs and consumers. So the first working group is related to energy production. Then we have a working group on transmission and distribution, another one in storage, heating and cooling, and finally, services and prosumers. We have been doing this for a few years now. This is the third plenary meeting that we have, and we have produced a number of content, a number of studies and opinions as product of the working group meetings. So the objectives is to analyze existing investment supporting schemes available in the market. We also identify barriers to financing in energy projects in the EU and in the member state level as well. And we develop recommendations on how to address them. We identify and analyze also new upgraded financing schemes available to investors. And this is analyzed through issue papers, reports, working group meetings, and discussions. And we develop also guidance and best practices to support streamlining finance in Europe for energy. This is all a product of the working group members' work, so that's just important to state, is the vision, is the opinion of the market players that are joining the working group meetings. And what it does, so we do studies, on current financial instruments, on current schemes as well for energy production, transmission, distribution, heating and cooling, storage, so representing the working groups that I mentioned earlier. We have a monthly newsletter, we have recurring working group meetings, and we do also webinars with experts from different institutions, from the European Commission, from the EIB, from the industry, to talk about the most present topics, including policy measures as well. And we have the annual plenary meetings where everybody comes together as an opportunity to discuss the work that was done, to hear what's new, and also to network as a group. So the agenda for today, very briefly, we are going to start with a keynote speech from Ditte Juul Jørgensen. She's Director General of DG Energy with the European Commission, followed by a policy session where we're going to talk about the future of energy financing between the Clean Industrial Deal and the Clean Energy Investment Strategy. And then we follow a technical session, the first one, with representatives from the working groups, where we're going to be exploring new financial instruments to further more investments, to mobilize more investments in energy. We have lunch at 1:15 for about, until 2:30. And then we have the afternoon sessions. We have a technical session number 2 about scale-ups, how public-private financing instruments, if they are fit for purpose, for support the clean industrial projects. We have a coffee break and a technical session 3 on from research to market on the financing the future of energy innovation. So it will be a big agenda, a lot of discussions. We have a lot of output as well from these working groups to show you, but we hope we'll have a very productive day and interesting as well. So I would like now to welcome on stage for our keynote speech, Ditte Jørgensen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Daniela. Good morning, everyone, and a warm welcome to this third Investors Dialogue on Energy. We have been working on this over the last years together with a very operational and concrete objective of lowering the barriers to investment, facilitating investments, getting the insights that you as a sector can bring to facilitate and accelerate investments into the energy system, into the energy transition. So my first message is a thank you to all of you, both for being here, but also for contributing to this conversation. We need you, we need your insights and your contributions so that we can do as much as possible with the best possible results. I would like to say a bit about the investment needs, about the recent initiatives, yesterday's initiatives on affordable energy and the clean industrial deal, and then what else is ahead and how are we going to take all of this forward together with you. In terms of investment needs, I think the figures are known by everyone. The scale is known by everyone. We really are at a critical juncture, both in terms of going into the net zero economy, our target for 2050, 2030, and 2040. We need to decarbonize, we need to industrialize at the same time. But I think at the center of this decarbonization and the net zero economy, we really have competitiveness, lowering energy costs, making Europe more competitive. And of course, also our security is intrinsically linked to competitiveness and affordability. If we're not secure, we will not be competitive. So competitiveness, decarbonization, security really come together and need to be addressed together. We know that we require very significant investments across the European Union into the energy system to make it happen. One of the things we have been doing and that we will continue doing is simplification. How do we simplify our regulatory framework without letting go of that predictability and certainty that is critical for investments? And so the first two omnibus that were published yesterday are really an important first step, but there will be more coming. So my second message to you after the thanks is if there's something where you can see that simplification is needed to accelerate investments, incentivize investments in the energy sector, do let us know. Send me a quick line, send my teams a quick line, then we will do what we can to address any of those bottlenecks or obstacles. Now, the numbers are impressive, close to 600 billion annually in the energy sector alone between now and 2030, and then even more over the next decade. The numbers we need over the coming years is about twice of what was already invested in the preceding decade. That was not a particularly good decade when it comes to investments into the energy system, but nonetheless, it gives you a sense of the scale. And again, necessary both for the decarbonization, but also for our competitiveness in order for us to make sure that we have a well-functioning energy system, an efficient energy system. We have too much loss now, and we will continue to have that waste or that loss unless we invest. So that is essentially what we have addressed in the Affordable Energy Action Plan, which came out yesterday as part of the Clean Industrial Deal. So a strategy to bring energy transition, competitiveness, but also, of course, to address the challenges of the energy-intensive industries, where we see the impact of the structurally higher European energy prices being more significant than elsewhere. We know that we need to de-risk investments. Simplification in itself is a de-risking measure. Predictability, certainty for investors is also in itself a de-risking measure. And so the more we can do in terms of streamlining permitting, accelerating, providing clarity around what will be the return, what will the system look like, what will the offtake and demand look like, all of those aspects are really critical to de-risk and to help investors. And at the same time, we need to strengthen our leadership on clean technology, again, a necessity for our competitiveness and hopefully sectors that can bring significant return in the coming years. So the Affordable Energy Action Plan focuses more or less on 4 pillars, 4 aspects. There's a lot in there, so I hope you will be looking at it and will be helping us in the implementation, providing input so that we get that right. First, of course, we know that our energy prices are structurally higher than those of our competitors, and we know that has a significant impact on our competitiveness. It is not the only factor. There are many other things that we can improve, but energy prices is significant. So that is the reason you will see that as a first chapter of the Clean Industrial Deal, and that is the reason that we have a separate action plan really to address energy costs and energy prices. So we've got a set of measures, a set of initiatives and suggestions to help lower energy costs, energy prices for industry and households in the short term. In doing that, we will be building on the electricity market design. We'll be really looking at what are the pricing and contractual instruments that are already out there, but that we need to scale up and facilitate with the cooperation and help of the European investment banks. I'm very glad to see you here as well. Secondly, we know that unless we build a genuine energy union, a robust energy union, unless we really strengthen that cooperation and investments cross-border, we are not going to be able to structurally lower energy costs and energy prices. And so if you go a bit from the immediate short term to the more structural, to the medium to longer term, that is what is needed, a genuine energy union. So we need to integrate and complete our energy union, working with member states, but also working with industry and stakeholders across the European Union. And then the third point is, of course, the need to attract investments. Without private investments, this is not going to happen. There is a market, there is a good business case, but we need to make that clear and to provide, again, the certainty that is needed. And in the current global environment, overall uncertainty is high, very high. And that means that the government, the public engagement in terms of de-risking or guarantees, whatever mechanisms can be put in place to de-risk, that is necessary because we cannot take away the global uncertainties, and no one expects those global uncertainties to go away in the short term. So we need to provide more certainty. One of the things we have been looking at in that context, and one of the things we're suggesting in the Affordable Energy Action Plan, is a tripartite contract where governments, energy providers, energy project developers, and the big off-takers come together to not just agree on a loosely formulated set of targets or actions, but really a contract where we all engage on making sure that what will we do as governments, what is the framework for investments, what does that mean for project developers, can they lower costs with that certainty and that predictability, and the off-takers, if they can give off-take certainty because they know that the supplies will be coming, the infrastructure will be there, well then they will also be ready to make the investments around electrification that are part of our competitiveness and part of increasing our security and resilience. And then the fourth part is, of course, we need to be ready for future crises. We have seen how the energy crisis, triggered primarily by the Russian invasion into Ukraine, we've seen a significant impact on that. Not so much in terms of supply security, we managed, we had no blackouts, our systems were ready, but the economic impact has been very, very significant. And that is where we need to make sure that should another supply crisis arise, how do we minimize the impact on our economy? So it's more about economic security linked to the physical and supply security. We're working on that as well, and we'll be coming forward with more initiatives. And so back to investments, because the investments are such a critical part of our competitiveness and of lowering energy costs and energy prices. We need to unlock the financing. We need to make the best out of whatever public funds are available, but we know they are limited. And so we need to use public funds not to fund projects that have a good market uptake or interest, but rather to leverage private capital by the relevant de-risking or guarantee or other instruments. So we will be putting forward an investment strategy a bit later this year, really as one of the central components of the Affordable Energy Action Plan, setting out both actions that are non-financial in nature, so all the other ways we can de-risk as public sector, and also, of course, financial actions where that is needed. We are also, as you probably know, working on a new European Competitiveness Fund that would be established to help engage in those sectors that are of a strategic nature. It could be research, it could be innovation, but not only those, again, linked to the very challenging global environment. We do need to look at that in a strategic manner, including to help meet our climate targets, but again, to do that in a way that also strengthens our competitiveness, strengthens our resilience and our economic security at the same time. And also here, simplification is an absolutely central element. So, great to be here today. I think this Investors Dialogue is exactly what we need to make all of this happen. You provide valuable input, so please do continue. Please let us know where you see need for simplification, need for action, need for more certainty or predictability, so that we help create the best possible framework. We know that in relation to energy costs and energy pricing, power purchasing agreements, and our work with the EIB, the pilot project on that is a critical aspect. Hopefully we can learn from that and see, is that a model that can be used more broadly, and how do we accelerate and strengthen the offtake of PPAs across the European Union? And then, as we are preparing our investor strategy, our investment strategy, please do not hesitate to provide input for that again, so that we get it right with the best possible results for Europe in the coming years. Thank you very much.